Hello, this is Latasha Forbes, or Prophetess Latasha Forbes. I've came on here before. I uploaded a video before about my books that I've written. I did like a virtual book tour. It was a fairly old video. However, the description is the same. So I just want to come on today and just remind you and refresh people's memory about me and my books that I've written and books that I'm working on now. Or one of the books that I'm working on now. This one here, the other community, the beginning, final destination. This is a trilogy, and then I'm working on the other community, trial and error. You can go on Amazon to pick it up. Sorry about that. You can go on Amazon to pick it up. You see the description there where you can look at it. Please like, share, subscribe, and purchase my books, and leave a comment on Amazon. Again, it's either on Latasha Forbes or Prophetess Forbes. Either way, it should come up. The other community. Again, this is a trilogy, and as I explained in my previous virtual tour, how this book came about, it still applies. This is a new cover. Ain't Nobody's Business was a blue cover, but this is the new latest cover. The eeriest thing about this cover, this book here that I've written, not usually, every book I've written, I've seen faces. I imagine my mind, or saw like a video in my mind of all my characters. But this one in particular, this guy here in particular, I wrote this book a while back, and I just recently changed the cover this year. Was it this year? End of last year? Well, anyway, between sometime last year or beginning of this year, I was on some type of Adobe Photoshop, and when I first saw it, I was like eerie, scared, because it was just eerie. Because it's the guy I've been seeing all this time. So I have to change this book cover to this man. And that's what I did. I changed the book cover to this man. Again, this is under Prophetess Latasha Forbes. This is a nonfiction book. This lighting is so light, but you can go Amazon.com to get this book here. All my books are inspirational, Christian inspirational. And I know I mentioned that, should have mentioned that on my virtual tour. However, again, it not only deal with Christians, but it also deal with people who's non-Christian. This is about life, people. But when I saw this, I was like, going back to this, it's like, this is crazy. This is crazy. And I had to, it was many, many years. And I just came across it, and I had to, use it as a copy. Oh, my battery's getting low. Let me go ahead and put that in. Right, be right back. Charging, plugging my battery up. All right. So, and that is Ain't Nobody's Business. Ain't Nobody's Business deals with a guy who was struggling, not struggling, but a guy who let's kind of say struggling with his sexuality. He was raped. But yet and still he maintained his sexuality until he encountered individual that would change his mind, set his world on fire, and lots of drama, lots of intrigue. Please look into this book, and again with the other community. Again, it's dealing with Native American. It's dealing with everybody, but this is about the other community. Is the Native Americans. I had a dream about this individual, this young man, and just took off into a book. That's how it all began. My first book was actually about my life, but yeah, as far as nonfiction, that's how it all began. And so please purchase Drug Meetings, The Injured Party. This book has an alternate ending. I'm pretty sure I said in my virtual tour. Has an alternate ending. This is dealing with Latin America. But again, everybody's here. But I don't know why God just sometimes gives me a theme or a particular culture, particular group, race of people. Thus far, this is how it's been. Tells the story of a family, of a particular family. That's how he has me to write thus far in my books. And this is a hard-working Portugal family, and it tells the story of dealing with sex trafficking, redemption. A good book, and it's a good book. Drug Meetings, The Injured Party. And this is under LaTosha Forbes, and it's Drug Meetings, The Injured Party. The ending I wanted, I thought I was gonna have, God just changed up on me, but it has an alternate ending. Once again, alternate ending, 2 endings. Armageddon is under LaTosha Forbes. I don't know why, I thought after writing this book, I wish I would have made it a little bit long, but it went far as it was going to go. This is dealing with African American people, me. This dealing with people who live in, this is the 90s. It's like going back in the 90s. This is the settings back in the 90s. And dealing with people who just, make mental health. This is something dealing with mental health issues, crime, the lifestyle choices that we make. But God steps in and turns things around for these individuals in this book. It is a good book. Again, this is talking about a particular family, a group of people based in the 90s. So, bye. Again, this is another Armageddon. And this book, it just took me somewhere mentally, because because the fact that Jesus was an advocate for this woman who made a terrible mistake, but God showed up on her behalf, and he basically turned back time for her, that she's able to get through and survive what will be the end of her life, and possibly someone else's. Ransom. Jesus was a ransom from us. He died on the cross for LaTosha Forbes. He's dealing with a particular family again. Like I said before, all of them dealing with a particular family. This is a Caucasian family. She would basically, I think it's an arranged marriage, but she, made life choices that she thought was suitable for her. And she found out that the choices that she made wasn't so suitable for her and her daughter. Her daughter was taken from her, and she learned to realize that the person or the thing or the being that she had missed in life was Jesus. And she goes through a traumatic. She goes to basically go to hell and back. Literally goes to hell and back. Not literally, not physically go to hell, but there's a inner turmoil in her mind because she ended up falling desperately ill that will cause her to experience that in the spiritual realm, where she ends up in hell. And she's literally tormented by Satan himself. But God steps in and make a way. When the enemy thought he had her, he had to release her, and that's the plot twist of it, that there was a deeper thing that went on in her mind. It was a traumatic deeper thing that went in her mind that caused her to revert, to turn away from what she was in. All right. And then last but not least, obedience is better than sacrifice. This is under Prophetess Latasha Forbes. This is a book about my life, personal life, things that I have experienced, decisions I made that caused me to, at one point, lose everything. But home. I lost a child. In the midst of it, I went through some hardship. The person I thought was was my husband, turned out to be, and the very person that I separated from, I learned more about him, and I saw God do an inner working and bringing that relationship back together, and and God, and it goes from there. You have to get the book to see it, but also, obedience better sacrifice not only tells the story of how my daughter died, what happened, what transpired, what I went through, how I began, but it also discusses. It's a teaching as well about obedience to God. And so you have that, my testimony, intermingled in a lesson plan or a teaching about being obedient, scriptures, giving real life testimonies, real life situations that, we make, the decisions we make may have, dire consequences, and talk about how to avoid those pitfalls, how to come out of those pitfalls, how to surrender to God, how to get God's attention to move on your behalf swiftly, and what God is looking for out of us to experience the greater in Him. Not just hardship, not just pain, not just being broken, not just suffering, not just consequences for our actions. How to avoid Satan, how to discern and understand who he is, his role is, how our life decision may line up with Satan or it may line up with God. How to stay on that God path instead of on that thing that pleases us the most, but it's not a God path, but it is, devilish path. So this book is in depth. So I think it's a good read, and to get lesson learning, and you get understanding of what God is about through scriptures, what God is wanting from us, per scriptures, not per me, not my belief, not my assumptions, but what the Bible says, and how do we get through it. All right. Amen. Again, you can find all my books on Amazon.com. Amazon.com. You can look under either Latasha Forbes or Prophetess Latasha Forbes. Again, that is Obedience Better Than Sacrifice, Ransom, Another Armageddon, Drug Meetings, The Injured Party, Ain't Nobody's Business, and The Other Community. You can find my books on, me promoting books on, not only on YouTube now, but on Facebook, on other people's platform like book clubs, book reviews, but mine's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think I have, Blogger? I think I did some things on Blogger, but you can find it there as well. All right. Please subscribe, share, like, and also purchase my books and support what I am doing. I really appreciate the help. I am a self-publisher. I did it all on my own on Create Space, and thank you.